Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, Canucks fans. How's it going? My name is Mark, and welcome to another episode of Game Over Vancouver. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to the flagship show of Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel, Hyperdrive Hockey. All things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Wherever it is and whatever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. So Canucks lose 3-2 in overtime to the best team in the league in terms of, I guess, standings, ending off a road trip. And I'm not mad. I am not mad at all from what's it called? From this game. Hey Alfred, how's it going? Is it crazy how the Pacific Division is freaking close? 10 points in range from first to eighth. Dude, 100% man. Like this, I kind of like the competitiveness of it. Obviously, it's not as similar to last year where like Edmonton started slow, Calgary was a non-name, but now like the fact that it's a competitive division, all really playing for that playoff spot is good for the team. But yes, very crazy game today. We got a point, even though we did give up our 1-0 and 2-1 leads. We still got a point, and considering that after 6 games we ended this road trip in the way that we did, I see that as a win. So I wanted to quickly recap the game, and just to, it is a post game show, and I want to talk about what's on my mind in terms of the game itself. But before the game started, a quick recap of, I guess, Canucks news. Patrick Allvin released a press release saying that Filip Hronek will not undergo surgery, thankfully. He will be out for 8 weeks due to a lower body injury, which, well, obviously he was out originally with his upper body injury, but it does kind of confirm a lot of what Canucks fans were thinking, where this guy has been playing hurt this entire time, and I'm personally glad he gets to rest. Obviously, it's not good for the team because of the fact that we don't want Quinn Hughes playing 30 minutes every single game. We need the help, but hopefully, fingers crossed, Hronek comes back to peak form Hronek, where he could actually rip them from the blue line and over 100 miles an hour. The one thing that was the one stat that interested me the most over like the last 8 games is that the Canucks power play is first in the division. I'm not too sure if you guys have been in like the last Canucks games that I've been hosting on the Game Over Vancouver channel, but I've always been complaining about how slow the Canucks power play was. But looking at this game as we recap the first period, we what's it called? Quinn Hughes scores on the power play. He rips it from the blue line with a snap with an assist by both Petey and Garland. Like, just by watching them play, it looks so much faster compared to earlier this season. That itself could be attributed to JT Miller's ongoing injury, where he does have to slow down the play by force. But the fact that we're able to just shoot the puck on the power play, like, I'm glad that I want to at least not take blame. What's the word? Take credit for yelling shoot so many times on my TV just to see the Canucks shoot on the power play, and he did. And Quinn Hughes scored, and he scored the 6th of the season. He did say earlier in the season that he wanted to shoot the puck a lot more instead of making plays, and it's been working tremendously for him. But yeah, early in that game, the Minnesota Wild, they were moving the puck really well, but the Canucks forecheck was matching them, I would say, pretty easily. That being said, us playing on the defensive zone, we were outshot by the Wild pretty early. Um, Kaprizov, man, he's scary. Like I'd say, like, obviously I'm not gonna compare him to McDavid, but like this game, he was genuinely scaring me. Whenever he had the puck in their zone, I did. Alfred says I did notice they have. Uh, I did notice they do play faster on the power play with the absence of JT Miller. Yeah, man, 100%. Like I don't get me wrong, I love JT Miller, one of my favorite players. I'm literally wearing a JT Miller jersey right now on stream to everyone viewing on YouTube. Um, but it could. I'm not fully blaming him. I'm just more so saying that the Canucks played really well without him on the power play. It was actually somewhat getting mixed up too. Like the first power play, we had DeBrusk playing. It was the standard first line power play with DeBrusk in for Miller. Actually, no, Garland in for Miller. But I believe our second power play we had Dakota Joshua in for DeBrusk, which was kind of interesting. But moving on to the second period though, our defense started to crumble a little bit more, and weirdly enough, it wasn't because of Carson Soucy. It was somewhat because of Quinn Hughes and Tyler Myers. Like, now that being said, Quinn Hughes on the offensive end tonight, great. Quinn Hughes and Myers on the defensive end, it was kind of tough just because of the fact that the way that Quinn plays, he will carry the puck into the zone himself, but without, I'd say, like a fast defender or at least a solid defender to fall back and catch his mistakes, or at least catch the offensive line on the back check. Tyler Myers likes to do the exact same thing. It's just obviously since he's bigger, he's a lot slower. And there are times where his play is really fun to watch. But unfortunately, due to a bad play by both Quinn Hughes and Tyler Myers, Goudreau on the Wild scores on the 3v1 rush. It's. I will say though, I wouldn't necessarily classify it as like bad play. I would more so say that was just a mistake from the Canucks end that could easily be fixed, thankfully, which is good. Like it's obvious if, for example, when we lost 6-2 a few games ago, a lot of the other team's goals, the Devils' goals, was because of bad play instead of mistakes. But today it was a lot of good plays, just with a few mistakes. If that makes sense. One, I guess, like rare complaint I have about today's game. Actually, no. I'll start off with the pros. The pros is that the Canucks played hard. I don't know if you guys can relate with this, but a lot of the depth guys on the Canucks have been really elevating their game with the absence of JT Miller. It wasn't as noticeable to me that we were down our 1C. Like it wasn't as noticeable that we were down a star player. Especially in this game because of the fact that you have players like Suter, you have players like Kiefer Sherwood who has been replacing his forecheck. Jake DeBrusk has started to elevate his game. Garland has been amazing as a first line center, and PD's back on this game. So the fact that we are able to still get a point against the best team in the league without one of our star players is great. That being said, though, starting the game off, it was a lot of dump and chase again. Like, it was frustrating because if you look at the third period, the Canucks played with a lot more swagger. They played with a lot more confidence. They were actually carrying the puck and making plays, which I don't know what it is. I don't know if the Canucks are just allergic to making plays that early, or if they just don't want to tire themselves out. And if it's the latter, I 100% I won't say I agree, but I understand needing to save your stamina, especially if Quinn Hughes is going to be playing the amount of minutes that he normally plays. Let me actually look at the stats from today. Our offense says our depth players have stepped up. Now, even better question: can they keep this effort when Demko, Hronik, and Miller return? I was thinking, I was thinking the same thing actually. Just because obviously when, um, what's it called? Obviously when people are given a chance to shine, they can either take advantage of the situation and exceed the expectations, or they play the same that they do. And the one thing that worries me is like once all of them come back, once Demko, well, I'll exclude Demko just because obviously he's the goalie, but when Hronik and Miller return and we go to a normal depth chart with hopefully no injuries, like the question that has to be asked is like, is there too many fruits in the basket? Where like too many fruits in the basket and not enough mouths to feed. In the fact that we have so much skill, but because of that, we just go overwhelmed and we don't do anything with it. Um, it's basically a lot of complacency that might come with it. Uh, I do think though that they can keep this effort, just because our best line last year was our third line. Sure, we might not get another 100-point season um, from JT Miller, or actually with any of our forwards. And sure, we don't have a top five scorer in the league, but the fact that our point standings within the team is just so even, as an all around team, as soon as we get our defensive situation fixed, then I think we're fine. I I've I might sound like a hoper. I might be what's it called, too optimistic of our current situation, but like considering the fact that we went 4-1-1 on the road trip with, like I said, without JT Miller is huge. So I just hope that translates to our game back home. But yeah, that's all. I appreciate your comments so often. Thank you, thank you. Um, but yeah, going back into into the game recap. Uh, I was looking here during the game, and I'll mention this a lot more in the second period of the stream. But Hoglander, eye level, was playing well, a lot better than he was before, and he was like starting to create plays, and he obviously has the eye for it. We've seen it so much last year, but I think he needs better wingers. Um, just because what's it called? He thinks too fast for his teammates, if that makes sense. Like a lot of his passes, like he was being really playful and skillful with the puck. He was making really creative passes. He just didn't have anyone on the receiving end of it. I think if he had, I'm not sure how this would work out, but if he had another Connor Garland on the opposite wing, where they could both be gritty players coming up from the wing, it might work out. But yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit more later in the stream. But yeah, we ended off the second period though with another Jake DeBrus goal, which he is fitting. I don't want to compare him to Kuzmenko, obviously, just because he was a healthy scratch today, um, in the Flames versus Blue Jackets game. But having a player that just digs deep into into the net, isn't afraid to crash the net, and just be a body in front of the net is great. I've been asking for that ever since the season started, where we just need to shoot the puck instead of just looking for like a quick snipe. Shoot the puck, get a rebound, and hope someone is there to capitalize of it. And DeBrusque has been playing that role so well. He scores really late in the second period, shifts the momentum to the Canucks, and as I believe he's a current top goal scorer. Let me double check here. Let's see. Yeah, DeBrusque has 10. So the fact that DeBrusque has 10 goals while basically playing like a pest, I love it. That's exactly what this team needs. Um, Bruins fans have been saying that he's streaky, where like he might have 10 games with 2 points and then another 10 games with 16 points. But if he's able to at least. Oh, that almost came out wrong. I was going to say if he's able to streak while it's hot. Actually, fuck, screw it. If he's able to streak while he's hot when the team needs him, then I'm here to watch every single minute of it. He's so fun to watch when he's on his game. He's so electric, especially playing with PD. Like seeing, I don't know if you saw the last game when the Brest scored the overtime goal. PD was jumping up and down. He was showing emotion, which I miss seeing that much emotion on PD. Happy PD is always nice to see, and I'm glad that the Brest could say it to at least be on his wing and be on the side whenever he needs. To move on to the third period, super quick. Jake Middleton scores pretty early after DeBrusque was pushed. I wouldn't even say he was pushed. He lost balance and Langton tripped on him. Jake Middleton scores early, tying the game at 2-2. Game itself does go to overtime, but oh my gosh, that overtime was one of the best overtimes I've seen. That we had so many chances on Gustafsson and the Wild. Same goes for the Wild with Lankinen saving so many shots. But the overtime itself comes to an end with a 2-on-0 chance from the Canucks. Besser hitting the post, unfortunately. The Wild capitalize on two Canuck players in the offensive zone, with Kaprizov making it past Lankinen on a 2v1, and the Wild win the game. And like I said, I'm not upset with that loss. That loss was one of the better losses that we've had. I'm not. Lots of positives to come with it. And even though we are ending off this road trip with a loss, I'd say the Canucks are looking like a great team. And if we're able to just fix a few kinks, this team 100% with, if confidence is high, this is a Stanley Cup winning team. But yeah. One thing I will also give a shout out to is Max Sasson. Max Sasson has been playing great ever since he has been called up. This might be like a dad buff, not so much like with his partner giving birth, but his actual dad being at the games. It might be a dad buff with him cheering on for the Canucks as loud as he can, but he is basically what Tocchet was looking for Archie Bains to do. He's digging deep. He's winning his puck battles and he's being creative with the puck, all while skating beautifully. He is one of our strongest skaters. And granted, it's Canucks is a somewhat weak skating team aside from Quinn Hughes, Garland, Brandstrom. I'm trying to think of anyone else that comes to mind. But those three are the main ones that stand out to me. But like, I am really liking his play on the Vancouver Canucks. I'm glad that his game in Abbey has translated so well on the main roster, and I'm excited to see what he does on home ice. Yeah, that is the game recap. To slowly shift into the second stream period, I want to give a quick shout out to the overall Game Over Network, as they are the sponsor of this next period. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you are interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we are also working on the page through LaRouche, a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we are aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we will gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. If you have any ideas for what you guys would like to see on these giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know in the live chat comments on Twitter, Instagram, or on our Discord server, which we are very active on, and that Discord server link is down below in the description. It is, right? Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so I wanted to quickly talk about Nils Hoglander. Big Hoglander. Shout out to Nuckhead, one of the best Canucks content creators out there right now. But Hoglander is, at least last season, one of my favorite players on the Canucks team. In fact, he's actually my sister's, not all time, but like my sister's favorite Canuck on this roster right now. He obviously has been in trade talks with the Canucks because he's been slacking this season compared to last year. You could say that last year's season was an outlier because he had a 24 goal season in those 80 games, but like, one thing that was underrated about his game was that he was a plus 23. So not only was he contributing on the offensive end, but his line was just shutting down the opposition really well. And a lot of the time last year, he was playing alongside what's it called? He was playing alongside like Sam Lafferty, alongside like Pia Suter actually, sometimes with PD. And I was a very big believer in that Hoglander would actually move up to PD's wing and have a Hoggy, PD, and possibly Lakari Maki lineup and just have a full Swedish lineup. But he, other than today, he hasn't been playing well. He hasn't really been contributing to that infamous Canucks depth that everyone talks about this season. This season, he's a -5 out of 23 games, now 24. He only has 2 goals. He hasn't really been contributing as much to at least the stat sheets as in terms of what we would like. That being said, today was somewhat of an outlier. He did play decently well. I wouldn't say it's the same Hoglander as last year, but I think the thing that's tough is that his role has somewhat shifted. A lot of the playmakers have not been playing as well, if that makes sense. Like Danton Heinen, for example, he's been playing like similarly as well, but isn't as contributing to the score sheets. But it's kind of tough, especially since Hoglander got an extension. Like if I was just looking at Hoglander's contract this season, he's a 1.1 mil, I believe. Actually, let me fact check this first. Let's see. I just don't want to go purely based off speculation. Okay, yeah. So Hoglander is being paid 1.1 mil. If he was a 1.1 mil player, I'd be okay with his game. Personally. Like he's playing like a fourth liner. He doesn't have to contribute as much to the Canucks stat board, but he would be playing gritty. Uh Huggy Boy has been underperforming this season, tends to turn pucks over. Yeah, 100%. That's the main complaint about Hoglander, and you have it on the ball basically, where it's like Hoglander itself. He makes plays. I'd say he's kind of similar to DeBrusque, where like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it really doesn't. But looking at the fact that he got an extension this year, it's his three to be like in all honesty, it might just be 3 mil for 3 years, but he doesn't seem like a 3 mil player. He doesn't. If he's able to at least elevate his game just a bit slightly, just so he could be a key factor in opposing teams defending him. If he can get to that level again, I would be happy. But the question needs to be asked though, like, do we trade Hoglander or do we keep him? He's, I'd say the number one, I guess, name on the Canucks trade block for any rumor that you see where it's like Hoglander and picks for a top four right-handed defenseman. And if that is what it takes to improve the team, then why not? But if the sole question is do we keep Hoglander or do we trade him, I still think we keep him. There's obviously that sentimental value that Hoggy is one of the few players on the Canucks that was still drafted by the Canucks. There's, I guess, that Swedish connection between Hoglander and the team, as well as Hoglander with Petey, with the fact that they hang out all the time during the off season. But I still think there's a lot to his game that can still be improved on. Yes, he's on the last year of his contract. At this point, he needs to start showing he's a 3 mil player after signing a new contract. So far, he hasn't proven that. I see him traded this season. Fair. I kind of wish he didn't get an extension, because he would have still been an RFA going into the off season, in which we could have at least given him a qualifying offer and at least have him show that he's worth the 3 mil contract. And like, if we're going purely based off of last season, I think he would have been more, or at least I thought he was worth more than a 3 mil, like a 3x3. If anything, it might have been like a 4x3.5 if he was able to elevate his game a lot more this season. I think extending him early on in the season was a mistake, just because of the fact that, other than I guess like Georgiev on the Avalanche, most players play better on the contract year just because they want to prove that they're worth the money. But regardless, I think we still keep him. That being said, if we're able to get a good package and trade him off for, like, let's say if you do Hoglander and picks for Rasmus Anderson, that's obviously going to cost a lot more than 2 picks. But that would be worth. I still think, and it still pains me to say this every single time I bring it up, but I still think that in order for us to get a defenseman that will elevate our game to a level where they'll make a difference, it's Connor Garland. At least trade value wise. As much as, like, it pains me to say it because I love him as a Canuck. if we want someone that will actually improve and has the trade value to get us someone that good, it would be Connor Garland. Mr. Wilkins, welcome to the chats. He says he's only 23. There's no real reason to give him up so quickly. It's not like it would be tough to trade him after the season. Exactly. He's still young. He's still 23. Like whenever people say that oh, this player is underperforming, he needs to get traded when they're still RFA age, it's an overreaction that kind of annoys me. Like if someone like DeBrusque or Garland or Dakota Joshua, if they start underperforming, somewhat understandable to have them in trade talks because of the fact that they're 28, they're supposed to be in their prime, but Hoaglander's younger than Max Sasson. Max Sasson's 24, while Hoaglander's 23. He still has so much more to elevate to his game that I'm just looking at this as like the equivalent of a sophomore slump to last year. I say we keep him. Sure, like that's me having a lots of sentimental value towards him as a player. But hopefully we don't have to trade him, and if we do, all the best to him. What do you guys think in chat? While I take a water break. I hope we keep him. Honestly, yeah, I still think we should keep him. I think once he's able to get in form and once he starts feeling warm, if we get the same Hoaglander as last year on, like added to the depth that we have, it's I think I'm gonna say it again. I think we win the Stanley Cup. Especially seeing what he's capable of. Exactly. I think it realistically we just need one Michigan goal for him to start being cocky again and to be confident in his cockiness to start playing well. That one goal should be enough to help him regain his confidence. And realistically speaking, people only really started talking about Hoaglander slacking this, like the last few games, when he's been playing like this the entire season. But I think we just needed a scapegoat because PD is injured. Oh, sorry, no. Hronek is injured and PD's back in form. Media obviously needs someone to bag on, and that's Hoaglander right now, unfortunately. Yeah, that's basically that. If there isn't anything else from chat, I want to quickly move on to the third period of the stream. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to the third period sponsor of the stream, Game Over merch. And man, what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over Apparel has dropped with 3 unique designs. So whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with the live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need coffee to get through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on stream now, right here. Ooh, let me do that again. Ooh. Use the QR code on stream now and take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your country. The fan base always seems like it's trying to trade someone. Yeah, it's sports. At the end of the day, it's sports. We need something to talk about, and if, especially in a city like Vancouver, like we could literally be, what's it called? We could literally be like 30-0 into the season, and the fan base will still find like one person that is underperforming and be like, we need to trade you. Like this was happening with like, granted, this was when the Canucks were playing really bad, but when Besser was in trade talks and when JT Miller was in trade talks, like the Canucks were just all up in their arms and just wanting to purge the front office and force a trade. But at least now I 100% trust anything that this front office does. I remember when we got Brandstrom basically for free. That was that itself was like an amazing haul. I remember when the Elias Lindholm trade happened. People were saying that, oh, the Canucks got fleeced. They gave up too much. When realistically, by trading Kuzmenko, we got the cap to sign DeBrusk afterwards. Even though Lindholm didn't stay with us, if we didn't trade Kuzmenko, we wouldn't have had to. Oh, we wouldn't have had the cap to sign DeBrusk. So if we trade Hoglander, if we don't hit trade Hoglander, I am fully trusting whatever Patrick Alvin and team does. I'd love to keep him, but he needs to start playing like a 3 mil player. This is his 5th year in the NHL. Fair. I mean, it's fair to be critical. It is his 5th year in the NHL. I think, I say this as someone that watches the NBA as well. Like I watch basketball as equally as I watch hockey, and it's a bit different because in the NHL it takes players a few years to really get going in terms of their body in the league. And granted, I kind of want to eliminate the first, I'd say, 2 years of him being in the NHL because um Benning and team called him up way too early. I think he should have stayed in Abbey at least at least like a year or two before he got called up. That 1 year, that one season where he was mainly in Abbotsford did wonders for his game, as we saw last year. But sure, it's his 5th year playing in the NHL, but he's still also 23. He's still really young. Like if we compare it to the NBA, where like rookies are expected to do stuff right away, then sure, but it's a different league. Like here, let me look at Scotty Barnes on the Toronto Raptors as an example. Because he's in his fourth season, I believe. Third or fourth season, but in the NBA, you're expected to give that performance if you're 23, because Scotty Barnes is 23, where you are expected to be the best player on your team, and you have lots of expectations on you. But NHL players don't really hit that prime until 27, 28. It's well for me to say because I'm 27 and I feel like my body's already starting to fail on me. Like my chiropractor said that I might be 27, but my back is 45. But like, these guys are still developing. These guys are still growing. Sure, he needs to play like a 3 mil player, but only time will tell. Yeah. That being said, it's fun to be critical, but I'm always an optimist. What was I gonna talk about for my third period again? Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So the Hronik situation and the defensive situation overall. So with Hronik out 8 weeks, obviously the Canucks need to do something to improve the defense, and because if we don't do anything, realistically speaking, like it's gonna be what, like 20 games of Quinn Hughes playing 30 minutes on ice, which it might work if this is the playoffs. Excuse me. It might work if this is the playoffs, but this is still in the first half of the season. This is still before the Four Nations Cup, and 8 weeks is like, just like Mr. Welcome says, 8 weeks is so scary because anything can happen, and if with, I guess, like the Canucks injury history, like that 8 weeks might easily become 12. Um, Obviously, I don't want to rush Hronik back. We saw what happens if you rush someone back from injury too fast, and we lost Demko. But, uh, ooh, that sounded like Demko was like gone, but no, like we rushed Demko and he re-aggravated an injury. But I obviously, if Quinn Hughes gets injured or gets hurt or gets too fatigued over this 8 week timeline, we're we're not gonna stand a chance in the playoffs. But the question needs to be asked, like, what do we do with the defense? No way this was recommended to me. Hey Migs. If this is the same Migs that I know, hey Migs, how's it going? Welcome to the stream, man. We're just talking about this Canucks post game. Talked about the game earlier today, and now we're talking about what to do with Hronik. We'd be so gibbled. Yeah, man. Like, we'd have Susie as our top left-handed D, and that just seems like a nightmare. Granted, he played pretty good today. Like, his expectation was a lot lower because of the fact that, hey, okay, yes, Monzero, yeah. But yeah, like he what's it called? His expectation was a lot lower because of the fact that he was playing with Juleson for most of the game. But Juleson and Susie played amazing. That being said, that's just one game. I doubt he's able to carry that payload if he plays like 22, 23 minutes a game. If Quinn Hughes gets hurt, and the fact that we're even just playing Desharnais as like an ongoing player, we need help. We need a lot of help. I will say, as like a side note, I was reading that Juleson starts to play good if he's like an ongoing player of a team instead of playing like as a 70, and he really showed it today. I if you guys have watched the past shows, I always complain about when Juleson plays because him on the penalty kill versus him on the 5v5 are two different players, where he will be the best player on the ice on the penalty kill, but when it's 5-on-5, he's a liability. The plays that he was making on 5v5 was bearable to watch. Uh, yeah, bearable to watch, not unbearable. Yeah, like it was actually like he was not overextending. He was sticking to his man without overcommitting to a poke check or a stick lift. He was a key reason why we only let in 2 goals in regulation. But is he the answer to our defensive depth? I don't think so. Obviously, we had Desharnais messing up a lot too, and I can't see Juleson playing as a top 4D in the long run. Because at the end of the day, the more you play, the more you get exposed, and more that your weaknesses get exposed. And I could say only time will tell in terms of what's it called? Only time will tell regarding what what our defensive depth will look like. But even though parts of our defense played well, we still need to improve it. And going back to the second period of the stream where we could realistically trade Hoglander for a top 4D, I'm still gonna say that if we need someone to improve our defensive situation, we're gonna have to trade at minimum a first round pick, a solid depth forward, and a solid prospect. I don't see the Canucks trading away Tom Verlander anytime soon because he is our defensive future, and if we trade him, we won't really have that much long term outlook on our defensive end. People have been people have been saying Elias Pettersson, like DPD, being included in trades because he has been playing really well in Abbey. While he might not be ready to play on the main roster, he does have the potential to do so. But trading him was or is a possibility. I really don't want that to happen because I really want to see both Elias Petterssons play on the main roster, but he like he is a possibility of being on the trade block for the Canucks if we can get a good improvement. Uh, my apologies. But yeah, chat. What do you guys think? I There's a part of me that kind of does want the Bowen Byram talks to come up again, but a lot of the people that were rumored to come to the Canucks was what's it called? They're starting to get pretty expensive realistically. And I did see earlier that there were rumors of one rumor that I saw and I instantly didn't like was JT Miller for Kamal Miller plus picks. And I for one, the Rangers don't need JT Miller. Two, I don't think trading JT Miller, especially in the fact that he's on leave, is a good look for the Canucks front office. But I don't think that improves anything on the team, if that makes sense. I don't think Kamal Miller's game translates well to our defensive system. Höglander played well enough tonight for Kaja to put him on the ice in the last 30 seconds of the third period. Yeah, 100%. Is it like he's obviously a hot shit style player in the fact that his offensive game is present enough that he could play on the bot six while still being a rat, for lack of a better word. And you know what? I think this is just good things moving forward. If Höglander can impress Tocchet enough to have those crunch time minutes in the third period versus being benched for the rest of it, then I think he's staying. You can make the argument that him playing better will improve his trade value, which is true, but I feel like especially since he isn't that much of a cap hit this season, I think we keep him for at least minimum next season. If we traded Miller, we would need someone to help pucks in the net again. Is creating one problem by fixing another. Okay, I don't want to talk about JT Miller trade rumors, but I will say, in terms of helping put pucks on the nets, Quinn Hughes has actually been stepping up a lot more. But that being said, I don't really want to talk about JT Miller trade rumors until at least he comes back onto the team and starts playing with us again. Just for just out of respect towards him and whatever he's going on right now. Unless others step up and start scoring like hogs. True. Very, very, very true. I think if anything, that's where like the depth of the Canucks starts to really come to play, where you have Peter Suter, who was once like he was leading the Canucks in scoring. Like, yeah, let me pull up the stats again. Goal scorers. Okay, so you have DeBrusk at 10 goals. Suter at 9, Garland at 8, Petey at 7. Then you have JT Miller, Besser, and Sherwood at 6. With Quinn Hughes at 6, actually, including today's goal. So, do I think Quinn Hughes scores 20 goals this season? I 100% think he does. Purely because of the fact that he said that he wants to score more goals this season. And he's been shooting so much more Um, I think he's my dark horse to win league MVP. Not even the Norris Trophy, but he's like obviously it's probably not gonna happen. Like Kaprizov or McDavid's probably gonna take it. They rarely ever make it give it to a defenseman, but he's still one of my dark horses. If he scores 20 goals this season and keeps improving his game, I for one, I 100% see him hitting that target, but I also think he's gonna go down as the greatest Canuck of all time if he stays on the Canucks um after this contract. Which when does it end again? Let's see. Yeah, so after the 2026-2027 season, he's a UFA. And if within those 3 years, if he elevates his game, I'm 100% okay with us paying him the max. Like if he becomes the highest paid player in the league, if that's what it takes to keep him, then I am perfectly fine with giving him 8 years of that max. I just went on a tangent on how much I love Quinn Hughes. He's one of the funnest players to watch on the team right now, and this going back to the original question of do I think he scores 20 goals this season? I think he scored like my hot take is that he's gonna score more goals than Höglander last year. So he might actually score 25 personally. But that itself that all depends on if if we could improve our defensive situation a bit more because I know like sure him and Myers go back like they've been on the team for a while, but I don't think he's his long-term line mate if he doesn't necessarily have a good line mate beside him in the next 8 weeks. I'm perfectly okay with him shooting a bit more just to compensate for that. We might have to, or he'll run off to New Jersey. I don't think he moves to New Jersey. I don't think. Okay, for one, I don't think they can afford him, just because they're gonna have to get rid of like Jesper Bratt just to be able to afford him. Because Jack Hughes is gonna at least ask for more than 10 mil a year, and I don't think New Jersey is willing to have a Maple Leaf situation where you have like four of your players taking up what's it called? Taking up 50% of your cap hits. Here, actually, let's go back in Puckpedia just to see New Jersey Devils cap hits. Does Demko start Friday? Those are the rumors, but I haven't heard anything like set in stone. I think it's a big possibility, especially since he's been practicing with the team for this long. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a few more games though. Just cuz like with him being injured for so long since like last May, he's been out for basically 6 months and he's going to be coming into the season with what's it called? Without training camp, without preseason, without having at least like 10 games to his name. I don't think they will give him the starts the first game back, but I do think he starts at least the second or the third game in this homestand. Yeah. But yeah, going back to ooh, okay, yeah. So going back onto the New Jersey Devils cap in terms of the possible Quinn Hughes signing with them, they're going into the 2027-2028 season. Timo Myers is at 8.8 mil. Jack Hughes is at 8. Jesper Bratt's at 7.875. Dougie Hamilton's still at 9, so I don't even think they can afford him. Like, you have Nico Hirschner and Andrzej Palat becoming free agents that season, and you could argue that they, with them not signing, because that's 7 plus 6 mil, so 13 mil. I still don't think that's enough money to sign Quinn Hughes in order for him to go over. And plus, like, you still have to sign Luke Hughes, because Luke Hughes becomes an RFA next season. But regardless, I think Quinn Hughes is gonna be a lifer. Some people might have said that about Horvat, and then Horvat got traded, but it's obviously a lot different when our best prospect ever, aside from Pavel Bure, I'd say, if we're able to still keep him on this team and have him happy, I'm totally okay with that. And if we become a team where we're like the Maple Leafs, where we're just spending too much money on their players, so be it. I hope he's lifer. Me too. Me too. Like, if Quinn Hughes becomes a lifer, he will 100% be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He will for sure have his jersey retired in the rafters, because he is only, how old is he again? Quinn Hughes is only 25. He's he still has so much more room to grow as a player. Like, the Sedins didn't become the Sedins until at least when they were 25, 26. And then they started going to the players that we grew to love. So if he becomes a lifer, that's gonna be 10 good years of Quinn Hughes on their blue line. That sounds great. I wish that happens. Hopefully, like, if what's it called? Hopefully this doesn't come to, like, bite me in the butt, where, like, I say all of this and then immediately next year he becomes a bum and just stops playing to his potential. But even if he does, I'd say he's still our best defenseman at minimum. But he's a top 5 I think he's a top 5 Canuck already as is. Um but yeah, moving back to uh, apologies, my ADHD puts me on tangent. But going back to the defensive situation, what do you guys think we should do? Do we? Uh, you can have the arguments made of that we can cycle through the Abbotsford farm, like have, like, we could bring up, actually no, Mark Freeman's still injured, but we could possibly bring up, like, Jet Wu. Oh, is Jet Wu still Canuck? Hold on, let me. Yeah, Jet Wu's still a Canuck. Let's see. So yeah, like, you could bring up players like DPD or Jet Wu just to, like, cycle them um, in terms of the third defensive pairing, just so you could, just so they don't what's it called? Just so they don't get tired out. You could argue that the Canucks need to make a trade, which for sure, like, the the depth does need to change. But if Julesen's able to at least be consistent and play the same way that he plays on the PK in the 5v5, then I'm perfectly fine with that too. Pedersen, 23 points in 24 games, not bad. It's pretty good, actually. I will say, like, not to discredit PD's play, obviously, because PD as a player, when he's on his game, is great. But the fact that DeBrusk is also benefiting from his, what's it called? Benefiting from him playing pretty well, then it's a double win in my eyes. I'd make a trade, let our young D develop an Abby. Uh the thing is, though, I think realistically, like, I'm not gonna be able to pronounce his name right, but Hunter, the prospect that we traded last year, we already traded someone from our young D in order to make the Lindholm trade happen. Unless we trade someone like Maki, which I really really hope we don't have to do. I don't think we're able to make a trade for a top four defenseman without trading either Elias Pettersson, like DPD, or Tom Volandy. It's tough because every other team knows the situation, so that's gonna jack up all the prices. I'd say yes. I would say yes to that, but at the sure that might make a few players more expensive. Like we might have to pay for a rental again, like we did with Lindholm last season. Lindholm and Zadorov actually, but I think we could still get a fair trade. If anything, and like if we trade someone like I'll bring him up again just because like the reason why I bring up Connor Garland all the time in trade talks is because I don't see us signing Besser without letting go of some of our cap, because Besser is getting paid 6.6 mil. He's estimated to get paid around 8 mil, but we just don't have the cap because of because of the Ekman Larson cap hit after us buying him out, which does go up starting next season. So realistically, if we trade Garland, get a top 4D that comes in on a rental, even if it doesn't work out, at least we have cap to sign Besser um plus another player. Yeah, I love Garland too, but I do agree. And yeah, like I think like it's tough because no one wants Garland to leave, but if we want to make a realistic trade, I think that's the only way. Any Miller updates? The only Miller update so far that I would say is accurate is that he's still just taking time off. There were rumors of him coming back during the homestand. There's rumors of him in trade talks. I choose to not believe anything unless it comes from the team itself. Um, might partly be out of like with me as like obviously I'm hosting a Canucks show. I don't want to over speculate on what's happening. Ugh, excuse me. I obviously don't want to over speculate on on what's happening with the JT Miller situation, but I don't. Basically, the only update is that there's no update right now. I will say I did see. I believe it was Dolly Wall that made a statement saying that there was a rumor that Miller was on the trading block because of him in the locker room and like how he is in the locker room, and because of his personality and how hard he can be, that's why PD was underperforming. And that now, since Miller is gone, not so much gone, but since he's away from the team, PD is able to play a lot more confidently, and that essentially the front office has to choose between Miller and his contract, his 8 mil contract, or move on from that. But Dollywell was very quick to shut it down. Thankfully, like I think it was a very wild assumption to speculate that he's the reason why PD isn't playing well. I my not hot take, but my conspiracy theory is that PD plays. The reason why PD is actually playing better is because we have a Canuck dog. Because in the span of the Canuck puck rip, unfortunately passing away, that's around the time when he started to slump. And then once Eddie, the new Canuck pup, joined the team, he immediately started to produce again. So I like to say that's the reason why he's playing well instead of uh, JT Miller being, I guess, a meanie in the locker room. But yeah, TLDR, the update right now is that there is no update from the team. And since we've already actually started talking, or not talking, but like taking questions from chat, I just want to quickly give one more shout out to the overtime sponsor of the stream, Game on Vancouver. As you know, this is Game Over Vancouver, which is a post game show after games. But starting very soon, in order to get ready to watch the Canucks, you gotta get your game on too. Which is why Game on Vancouver will be a short form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the Canucks, hosted by myself, Mark Sianquita, and Clarke. Get all your news about the Canucks in or under 10 minutes, Monday through Friday, on the Game Over Vancouver YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find at the gameovernetwork.com/pages/Vancouver. Good theory. I like it better. Thanks. I don't have the date on when I made these stats, but let's see. Okay, so until November 7th. So obviously, like, PD has been a point per game player from November 7th until now, but just because you mentioned it, Mr. Wilkins, so I actually have the stats here from the last stream. So before February 5, so that was February 4, 2004 was when the Canucks announced that Rip, the Canucks pup, unfortunately passed away. But before that, so before February 5, 2004, PD played 51 games, registering 24 goals, 38 assists, and 62 points last season. If you add the 2022-2023 season, he scored 39 goals, 63 assists, totaling to 102 points, which does bring that total to 164 points with 63 goals and 101 assists over a span of 131 games. The more important part is that his points per game average was 125, and this was all in the span of Rip, the Canucks pup, being on the team. Ever since when Rip passed away, up until November 7, when Canucks pup Eddie first met the team at the Canucks Media Day, PD played a total of 44 games across the 2023-2024 regular season and the playoffs, and he scored 11 goals, 22 assists in that total. So he accumulated 33 points and had a point per game average of 0.75. And in the playoffs specifically, he only had 1 goal, 5 assists, and 6 points. So in the playoffs, he was a 0.46 player in the playoffs. As soon as Eddie joined the team, PD played 4 games and scored 3 goals and 2 assists, having 5 points and having his point per game average at 1.25, which was the exact same at point per game average as when the Canucks pup Rip was on the team. I haven't done the math just yet in terms of November 7th up until now, but obviously PD's been playing like a point per game player. So I want to say that I am attributing his improvement in play to the Canucks having a Canucks pup. That's all. And honestly, I think that is how I will end today's stream. If you guys like the show, please remember to like and subscribe to the Game Over Vancouver Network channel. Thank you to Mr. Wilkins, Scott White, and everyone else who joined today's stream. And we will see you at the next one. Take care.